Steve.
And I'm Crystal.
And welcome to Cafe Biblos.
So last week we started on Psalm 7, discussing anger, and particularly God's anger. But one look at this psalm, and it's easy to tell that anger is not all that this psalm is about.
Wait, hold the phone. You mean to tell me that we spent 7 minutes talking about anger last week, and that's not even the point? I want my money back.
What money? Anyway, it's not the point. Now, like we were talking about last week, it's time to push the French press on this psalm and find out what's really there.
So, first thing, there's a few references in the text that have to do with the human being and what we're made of and that we need to understand, which will make this and other texts that seem obscure to us make a whole lot more sense.
Yeah. The first one is a word you may be familiar with, but may be a little confused about its meaning. It's the word soul.
Or nephesh in Hebrew.
Exactly. But when people who speak English like us think of the word soul, we think of like a spirit or ghost even, but it's not the same at all as spirit.
Yeah, first of all, the word spirit in Hebrew is the word ruach, and it means breath or wind. But that's not the word here. It has a lot to do with it, though. Literally, it means something that breathes, or more specifically, something that has breath. Like when God breathed into man's nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living creature, according to Genesis 2:7. Literally, what it's saying is that God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and he became a living, breathing thing, or a living nephesh.
So, in the Bible, the soul, or nephesh, means anything living that breathes. It literally means a breathing organism, whether animal or human. But it also puts emphasis on the thing that breathes, the body, or the life of the person or animal. So it really has not so much to do with the breath, but with the being that breathes, the life form itself, or basically your life. So translated a number of ways, sometimes as soul, sometimes as life, sometimes as creature or being, and so on. But here, it's definitely David's whole life, his physical being, that he's concerned about.
And we're going to see this word pop up a lot as we go through these Psalms, as well as the next word. So don't worry, we're going to be talking a lot more about it as we go along. So don't get too confused.
Yeah. So the next word is the word mind, from verse 10 in Hebrew. The word is lev, or leva, and it usually is translated as heart.
Yeah, the Bible's concept of the heart doesn't mean the center of emotions like we tend to think of today in the States. No, the Bible describes the heart both in its physical sense, as in the organ or the area of the body where it's in, basically your chest, but it is also described as being the place where your thoughts come from, as well as your feelings, and also your deep desires, plans, and creativeness that comes from. So basically, it is your mind, or even your brain, or at least in some senses. Basically, your heart is your hard drive, or to be more poetic, it is the treasure chest where you keep your thoughts, reason, purposes, and emotions. It is your mind's home, or better yet, your mind's garden.
It's a lot more complicated, huh? Well, finally, there's your kidneys, which is translated here as hearts in verse 10. Boy, they kind of mixed things up with this ESV, didn't they?
They just like to keep you on your toes, I guess. Now, here the word is kiliot, and it literally means your kidneys. That's right. God judges your heart and your kidneys.
Okay, yeah, but the Bible uses it in another way that's different from the way we think. The kidneys are used to describe the most secret workings and affections of the being, and that makes sense since we are so deep in the body. But in the Bible, they are shown to be affected directly by the heart's deepest emotions, such as anxiety or sadness.
Like in Psalm 73, verses 21 through 22. In Hebrew, it literally says, "When my heart was embittered and my kidneys were pierced through, I was brutish and ignorant. I was like a beast towards you." The heart's condition affects your kidneys directly, and if your heart is bitter, you feel it deep inside, and it will affect your innermost self, specifically your kidneys. They're a sort of vessel for your heart's emotions, a filter that stores your deepest emotions and affections as separate from what your life shows on the outside.
That's even true today in modern medicine. Your kidney function is affected by strong emotions, particularly fear or anxiety. So, just to put it all together, your heart is the source of your thoughts, feelings, purpose, and desires that goes out like a fountain through your kidneys, which filter out the deep emotions and affections and eventually makes it out of you to your nephesh. The outside you, your living being that people see and interact with.
Right. So why are we talking about this anyway? What does this have to do with Psalm 7?
Well, in the first 2 verses, David is very concerned about his pursuers, those who are chasing after him. He's afraid that they will destroy his nephesh. In other words, that they will kill him.
Yeah.
Then David appeals to God, saying that if he has done the things he's accused of, like trying to start a rebellion against Saul, or if he has done any evil at all, that God will let them catch him and kill him. But if David is innocent, then he asks God to turn his anger against David's pursuers.
Exactly. Then that's when he starts in verse 8 to ask God, who judges the peoples and who tests the heart and the kidneys of men, to judge him and to restore righteousness by putting an end to the evil of whoever is wicked in this situation. But one thing he knows, he trusts in God to save the righteous. Then he wraps up by talking in detail about what God does to the wicked who refuse to repent, and says, undoubtedly with his pursuers in mind, that those who set traps for the innocent will themselves fall into it, like Haman the Agagite in Esther. Right?
Yeah, so what's the point here? Well, David brings to mind the question, our question for the week. What do you do when you are wrongfully accused, when people start to judge you for things you didn't even do?
Oh, man. Well, that's all we've got for today. We hope you enjoyed today's brew.
In the meantime, be sure to comment, like, and to share this video. We don't do any advertising, so we rely on your likes and shares and comments to make these videos available to everyone. The more you share our video, the farther this program reaches. You can also find us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel.
That's right, and you can, in the meantime, enjoy your French press psalm. Feel free to dig even a little deeper and tell us what you think. Until next week, good morning, good evening, and good night.